faces the same problem. Just give us a sense of how Turkey plans to actually resolve this.
Well, Turkey has made a deal and signed an agreement with the Russian Federation. We are buying the S-400s, but prior to making this agreement, prior to signing it, we did shop around and we asked our American colleagues, we asked our European colleagues, we asked our Chinese colleagues for options. And after thorough analysis and very delicate consulting on different options, we decided to go with the S-400s. And Turkey has already signed the agreement, has already paid the advance payment, and the Russian Federation is in the process of preparing the order, and they will be placed in the necessary parts of Turkey. That doesn't mean that we will not be dealing with our U.S. allies. As you know, both Turkey and the United States are NATO allies, and we are working with them on many different projects. We are also, as you mentioned, working on the F-35 fighter plane project since the beginning of the project. And we have other equipments that we're purchasing from the United States and from other NATO allies. But this is not an alternative. This is a complementary issue, and we will continue to work with different parts of the world.
I perfectly understand the Turkish position, but there's also the U.S. position, which is, and as you know, last year, they also legislated, and this was part of the sanctions against Moscow, that any country that buys Russian systems will not be able to get the U.S. systems. There was, of course, they also said that there are exemptions to that, but the fact is that India is also in that framework now. So how does Ankara going to negotiate this?
As far as Turkey's case is concerned, I don't know about India's case, but as far as Turkey's case is concerned, we did consult with all of our allies, and we did inform them, and they did not, unfortunately, match the proposal of the Russian Federation, and they knew that Turkey needed this equipment to protect herself from a possible threat from Damascus, from Syria, and we informed them, and that's why we went along with this project.
Okay, let me go to Mr. Kozhilin in Moscow. Mr. Kozhilin, we see that after some dip, the Moscow-Ankara relations, specifically in relation to Syria also, but overall also, are improving. And it seems that Moscow also wants to have Turkey close to it, even though Turkey is a NATO member. So what exactly is the Moscow playbook here?
Actually, we all witnessed much changes in international relations, and especially in relations between Moscow and Ankara. There were periods when we were enemies, there were periods when we were friends, and the recent 2 or 3 years show that Moscow and Ankara get much closer than ever before. Arms deals is something special, given the fact that air defense and military aviation, those are very sensitive strategic fields. Russia had the expectation that we'll get not only military but also political alliance, a part of political cooperation.
So while the U.S. has a problem, Ankara getting the 400 from Russia, Russia does not have this problem. Do I understand that correctly? I mean, even if they get the Patriots or even if they get the F-35 Joint Strike Fighters, Moscow will make its deals with Ankara independent of that. Is that correct?
Yeah, Moscow has no objections about Ankara cooperation with the United States. We are ready to sell weapons whether Ankara cooperates with U.S. allies or European allies or not. That's true.
Okay, so the American sanctions against Russia, the general sense is that the sanctions have started biting, and the Russian economy is also not really looking up. So is that one of the reasons that Moscow feels that, you know, it can try and find buyers and sell the weapon systems and ask for top dollars? Is that sense correct?
Yes, commercial aspect is important for Russia, but that's not the primary one. Actually, Russia is ready to sell weapons to Ankara, not only for commercial purposes, and we can see that Russia provides certain privileges to Ankara, providing good prices and payment conditions as well.
Okay, so you know that, and Russia has traditionally been, from the time of the Soviet Union, very close to India, and India has been very close to the Russian Federation. There was a time that Pakistan was in a completely different camp, but over the years, relations with Moscow have been improving. Now, Russia has already sold S-400 system to India. Were Pakistan to, and of course this is a theoretical question, if Pakistan were to approach Moscow and ask for S-400, how would Moscow react to that?
I think Russia will consider it thoroughly. There was a period when Russia declined from developing military cooperation with Pakistan, but the situation has considerably changed by now, and we have very close cooperation with Pakistani militaries in Afghanistan, on Afghanistan. Politically and military, we cooperate with Pakistan in Afghanistan issues, but as well as in Central Asian issues. And we see that military cooperation with Pakistan also develops. So Russian defense industry has a lot of expectations from Pakistani market.
Okay, thank you so much, Vadim Kozhulin was talking to us. We go back to Mr. Bağış. Mr. Bağış, relations between Turkey and the United States over the last 2-3 years have not really been very pleasant, despite Turkey being a member of NATO. Now Turkey is obviously making overtures towards Russia also, but at the same time it's important for Ankara to continue to have relations with the United States. What exactly is Ankara's playbook as far as the United States is concerned?
Turkey is the most eastern part of the West and the most western part of the East. Okay. Turkey is a part of Europe, a part of Asia. Turkey is a Black Sea country, a Mediterranean country, a Balkan country, a Eurasian country, a Caucasian country, all at the same time. And that unique characteristic, it gives us different responsibilities. And we have served as a bridge for centuries, and that's what we intend to do from now on as well. So we try to connect people, we try to connect civilizations, we try to connect supply and demand, and we try to connect continents and superpowers. Turkey has good relations both with Russia, the United States, China, Pakistan, India, countries in the Gulf, and European Union as a candidate country. And Turkey will continue to become a piece of stability and safe haven. And we are now cooperating with our Russian colleagues vis-a-vis future of Syria. We are also at the same time cooperating with our American allies vis-a-vis future of Syria and Iraq, and they seem to be cooperating as well.
So the irritants, like after the coup, the Ankara's demand that because Ankara is now obviously going after the Gulenists for Gulen to be brought to Turkey, a demand that the US does not agree with. You think these irritants can be smoothed?
Gulenists are terrorists, and many countries, including Pakistan, have declared them as terrorists. Now the United States, our allies, are looking into the cases, into the documents we have provided them, and FBI has already started an investigation on the Gulenists. And we are hoping that they will realize what a big threat they have on their laps, and they will get rid of that threat, that danger, by extraditing Gülen to Turkey. But there are other issues such as YPG and PYD in Syria.
Yes, that's another irritant.
Which is another affiliation of PKK terrorist organization. United States and European Union has already declared PKK as a terrorist organization. So their divisions with different names should not be considered as political organizations. And President Trump has realized that the U.S. troops in Syria need to come back home, and that's going to increase Turkey's responsibility.